Hi, I'm Mike Regan with Transact's 2-minute warning for the week of May 9th. Folks, if you want to conduct a world-class sourcing event, then consider these tips. In last week's 2-minute warning, we talked about 3 takeaways that we learned from NASTRAC's recent annual conference. Now, one of those takeaways dealt with the condition of the freight market. And whether or not the economy is in recession may be debatable, but when you hear the Chief Economist for the American Trucking Association, Bob Costello, say that with respect to the freight markets, we're definitely in a recession, you have to stand up and take note. And that led to some really interesting conversations. We had conversations with senior executives from LTL and truckload carriers, and we learned that they're seeing a very high level of bid activity. And the reason for that is real easy to understand. When the markets are soft and you've got a buyer's market, expect to see shippers and third parties get into the market in an effort to reduce their rates. But more interesting than the conversation with the trucking executives was what we learned when we talked to some shippers that have recently concluded their LTL sourcing events. One of my friends said, Mike, in concluding this, she said, I didn't want to tell the audience, but it was just about as painful as delivering kids. Now, the reason for that is because the rules of the game have changed over the past couple of years. And that's why we want to give you a couple of tips if you want to conduct a great LTL sourcing event. First, you need to make sure that the quality of your data is outstanding. In talking with one shipper, she said, Mike, we do this every 2 years, but what really struck me was the carriers came back to us wanting more accurate data. And the reason for that, folks, is because in the LTL environment, density and dimensional-based pricing create a different set of variables, and you need good data to be able to share with your carriers. Now, the second point that we want to talk about is to take a look at the carriers you're inviting to bid. I talked with one shipper, and he indicated that when they went to market, they wanted to make it real and easy for their divisions, so they primarily focused on incumbents. Wrong move. We want you to include your incumbents, but we want to make sure that when you go out to bid, you also include carriers that have networks that make sense for the kind of freight that you ship to the places you ship. Now, the third thing we want you to do, third thing, most important, pick up the phone and call or send us an email. It's not going to cost you a dime to ask us questions. And after I got done sharing our experiences with this one very large shipper, she indicated, I wish I had talked to you sooner. Now, folks, let that be your objective. Talk to us sooner rather than later. Now, with each and every 2-minute warning, we're here to remind you, we're on your team, we're here to help, and we're passionate about seeing you be successful. Thanks for your time.